Yeah, and it's early, but when we were on the post game at 1 a.m. on Sunday, but it was very clear that when JJ came out of the game and Cade came in, it's hard to describe, but it just seemed like the air just kind of got sucked out of the balloon. Like there just wasn't the same amount of like just excitement, and Dre likes to say use the term juice a lot, in which I actually agree. Just wasn't the same juice when when Cade came in, and I wonder if the team is at the point of like they could see the writing on the wall, like JJ's going to be the starter, so that excitement when you have a guy in there who can take off for a 40-yard touchdown run and just do dynamic things with the ball. I'm wondering if we're seeing maybe the beginnings of kind of what you mentioned, Mark, with the Joe Burrow, the Deshaun Watson, that confidence that you have from your teammates where they're going to play just a little bit harder, they're going to block just a little bit longer, they're going to run a little bit harder because they have the guy at quarterback. So I wonder if we're seeing the beginnings of that.
Well, obviously, my daughter did not appreciate some of my take. If you heard a baby scream, that
She's
was her.
smart, less than a year old, already smart and understanding that Uncle Dez is correct. That's what she's
Yeah,
understanding.
I think so too. But no, no, Des, look, man, look. There's nothing. Let me be very clear. There's nothing more that I would like to be able to come up here and say, hey, what, Michigan has what it takes to win the national title. I very similar to last year. Look, I have a very I have to see it to believe it type of mentality. And even though, like, I see what a lot of people's arguments are. Hey, you have a great quarterback. A great quarterback can make magic happen, right? They can take a good team and make them great, right? Well, I don't think a great quarterback can make a good team great. I think a great quarterback can hide certain deficiencies that a good team has. And even though that is the case, what I worry about is fine. Let's say JJ is special, and overall Michigan as a team is a really good team, and JJ is a great quarterback. But what happens when you play a team that has a good quarterback, and it is amazing like Georgia? Then you're like, well, hold on a second now. Michigan's found a way to put up 30 points, but we've given up 35. Or Michigan's finding a way to stay in the game, but after a while, that speed starts to break us down. See, that's what I'm worried about. And like, can we really, really compete on that level and the consistency for 60 minutes? You can come out. Look, MSU looked pretty good for a half versus Alabama, right? They looked competitive in 2015 against Alabama in the playoff. I think they were down with 14-0 at halftime. It was a very
Not
competitive
even.
game. MSU didn't look like they were about to get blown off the field, but you saw at this, third, fourth quarter, the talent and the cream start to rise to the top. And Connor Cook was, a really good college quarterback. Not great, but really good. So I
But
mean,
I would
look,
make an argument even in that game. I watched every snap of that game, and to
I bet
me,
you
it
did.
was very clear that Michigan State was holding on by a thread. They were literally just holding on by a thread in that game. You knew it was coming. Like the wave was definitely coming. You just didn't know when it was going to happen. And they punted to Cyrus Jones, and there it went. So I don't know, man. I think you're selling your team short. That's how I feel.
Yeah, but let's be very clear. Let's not put me into a corner. I think we're really, really good, right? And I think we're good enough to make the playoff. Guys, once again, so Dre was negative. I think we're really good and we're going to make the playoff. I think we should. But in terms of winning a national title, gotta see more. That's it. All right. Kadesh would love to put me in the corner. Yeah, Dre doesn't think you guys are good enough. That's not what I said.
That is what you said. No, no, no. That I didn't say you. I asked you if all the breaks go their way, because in a what is it, 14, 15 game season, you got to have a little bit of luck. You got to have some bounces go your way. That fumble that if the other team recovers, the game is over. Somehow an O lineman or a tight end falls out. Like you got to have some breaks go your way. But my question to you was, what's Michigan's ceiling if the breaks go your way? If you don't lose your number one receiver in Ronnie Bell, right? Like what is the ceiling? You told me basically last year, rinse and repeat. That's what you told me.
Yeah, and there's no shame in that. I mean, like, look, uh, man, you got to crawl before you walk, baby. And right now, we
Oh my gosh, you're driving me
take our
crazy
first
right
real
now.
steps.
Was last year not crawling? I would actually say that is legitimately the crawl before you walk. That's
Yes,
literally it.
but if you're asking me if we're ready to walk, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
That's
I
all I'm
can I
saying.
can I can live with that. But
That's
crawl
all I'm
before you walk, I'm
saying.
like, well, LSU didn't. They sure as heck did not.
Look,
They came out of the womb and took
brother,
off running, sprinting.
let me tell you something. You can combine Connecticut, Colorado State, and Hawaii, and you can put them all together with their best starters, and Michigan will look like they're ready to win a national title. Okay, those teams will make anybody look amazing. So, like, let me just see a little bit more. And unfortunately, look, they can't control that. The players can control who they're playing, right? They just have to go out there and do their jobs. But at the end of the day, in terms of gauging what's the trajectory of how far they can go, that remains to be seen. And like you said, Des, we may not know until they finally play Ohio State. Or rather, can this team do something really special like that? Right? Other than that, who knows? I mean, it's a really good chance MSU can go out here and get embarrassed versus Washington. I don't know who they are. I don't have a gauge on how good Penn State is. They struggled versus Purdue earlier in week one. So, I mean, we just don't know. We don't know. And you can argue that Jeff Brom blew that game for Purdue, and Penn State should have lost. So, I mean, for God's sakes, man. I mean, I don't know. Look at Wisconsin; they're flundering. I mean, just it's. I don't know. I mean, I doubt is the Big Ten is getting that good, or is just the Big Ten having kind of an off year.
I don't know, man. I feel like every point you make, I am just like, I don't know. It's difficult. I think they have enough. That's what I'll say.